يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fasting has been written upon you just as it was prescribed upon those who came before you. With regards to the iftar, then it is mentioned that from the sunnah is to have the iftar on time. As soon as the fast opens, the time comes, the adhan is done for Maghrib on time, then the person opens the fast. Not to delay it, as some people say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, give it half an hour, let it go dark just to make sure. I don't want to mess it up at the end of the day and the sun hasn't quite gone down. Give it another 15 minutes after the adhan. And they say that, people do that. And it's a mistake. If the adhan is done on time for Maghrib, then that is the time to open the fast. And in the hadith of Sahal ibn Sa'ad, radiyallahu anhuma, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطر. The people will not cease to be upon goodness as long as they open their fast on time. Quickly, when the time comes, they open their fast. They don't delay beyond that. Open their fast and the time when it comes. That the people will be upon goodness as long as they do that. Also from the sunnah of the iftar is to open it with dates, and if you don't find that, then with water. The hadith of Salman ibn Amir al-Dabbi radiyallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إذا أفطر أحدكم فليفطر على تمر فإن لم يجد فعلى ماء فإنه طهور. That when one of you opens his fast, then do it with dates. And if you don't find any dates, then with water, because it is pure and purifying. So that indicates what should be used in opening the fast. Dates. If they are not found, then water. And if that is not found either, then with whatever other food. And it is the sunnah, as the scholars mention, as the Prophet ﷺ used to do, to open the fast with the dates or the water, etc. And then to go and pray. Then after the prayer, if there is a need, then the person can sit and have more food. But it's a mistake when the people sit and have a big meal and then maybe an hour later go and pray Maghrib and miss the Jama'ah, etc. So the sunnah is to open the fast with the dates or with the water, and then to pray the Maghrib, and then afterwards, if there is a need, you can sit and eat further. It's mentioned about some of them, the Prophet ﷺ and some of the Sahaba, that they would open their fast with dates and water and then pray, and they wouldn't even eat after that. Later on at some point, maybe they would have something to eat. That would be sufficient. Shaykh Fawzan mentions there is a speciality within dates. The certain types of sugars, etc. within dates, there is that speciality within them that is good for the person who is fasting, to open his fast with. So that is the sunnah, to open the fast with. With regards to suhoor, then it's mentioned in the hadith of Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, تَصَحَّرُوا فَإِنَّ فِي السُّحُورِ بَرَكَةً. Have the suhoor in the mornings, have the suhoor, because within it is barakah. Hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. Have the suhoor in the morning, for within it is barakah, is blessing. So this indicates that from the sunnah is to have that suhoor. It's also from the sunnah to delay that and have that close prior to the Fajr time. It's a mistake that the people have a big meal at midnight or 1 o'clock and go to bed and consider that to be their suhoor so they don't have to bother getting up later. That's incorrect. The sunnah is to have that suhoor prior to Fajr. That's the timing for it. Also, due to the sunnah of the suhoor and there being barakah within it, then Shaykh Fawzan mentions that every person should try to make an effort to have something. Even if you don't feel like anything at that time of the morning, you don't feel like eating, have a small snack. Have something very light. Just a small snack if need be. Just so that you've implemented the sunnah of having a suhoor. And within that small snack will be barakah. So that's what a person should do with regards to the suhoor. And that is a sunnah also. And it's mentioned about the Jews and the Christians that when they used to fast, they did not used to have a suhoor. So this is in opposition to the way that they used to fast. That the Muslim, he takes the suhoor in the morning. After that, then we'll also mention some of the factors that degrade the fast of an individual. What degrades or nullifies the fast of an individual are two types. One type of thing which degrades the fast of an individual to the extent that it nullifies it. The second type of thing degrades the fast of an individual but doesn't nullify it. It degrades it and makes it deficient but doesn't nullify it. The first type that degrades it and nullifies it altogether: eating on purpose, drinking on purpose, intercourse, vomiting on purpose. All of those types of things nullify the fast. But then, there are other factors which this next hadith is going to speak about that degrade the fast and make it deficient and take away the reward, but don't actually nullify it. It still counts, but the reward is gone or decreased. And they are all of the other evil types of acts, from speech and actions and behavior: lying, cheating, deceiving, behaving in a foolish manner, in a corrupt manner, in a false manner. All of those types of inappropriate behavior and action, then they are from the affairs that reduce the reward of a person's fasting, to the extent that maybe a person fasts from 3 in the morning to 9 in the evening, 18 hours. He does it, doesn't eat anything, doesn't drink anything, doesn't conduct any of the other activities that nullify the fast for 18 hours. But maybe at the end of the day, his reward for that day is 0. It's possible that all of his reward has decreased and diminished for that day due to all of his other ill activities that he's been performing during the day. This is what the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ mentions here: "Man lam yada'a qawla az-zuri wal-amala bih wal-jahl فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه." حديث البخاري ومسلم متفق عليه. لا, hadith al-Bukhari. The hadith which is in Bukhari, not muttafaq. It's in Bukhari. And this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever doesn't leave qawl az-zur, meaning every type of speech that is false and corrupt and evil, وَالْعَمَلَ بِهِ, and acting upon that way of falsehood and corruptness and evil, whoever doesn't leave that type of ill behavior and speech, وَالْجَهْلِ, meaning foolishness in your behavior and how you conduct yourself during the day of Ramadan, فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ فِي أَنْ يَدَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ, then there is no need for Allah for that individual to leave his food and drink, meaning that this is not the fasting that Allah obligated upon you. Allah didn't obligate upon you to leave your food and drink, but to carry on with your lying and cheating and slander and deceiving and backbiting and all of the other evil and corrupt affairs. That's not the fasting that was prescribed. That's what the hadith means. The fasting that was prescribed was that you stop your eating and drinking and you refrain from all of these other ill activities. That's what it means here, that there is no need for Allah for this person to leave his food and drink then, if he's going to carry on with all of that other evil action. Meaning that that's not what Allah obligated upon you. It was not obligated for you to stop eating and drinking but carry on with all the other evil acts. What was obligated was to stop the eating and drinking and all of the other affairs, as well as to refrain from all of these acts of evil and falsehood. So these are what the scholars say, things that nullify the fast in an abstract manner, i.e. they make the fast deficient and they reduce the reward to the extent that maybe a person fasts all day but there's no reward for that day, even though the fast counts. No reward because he's been engaging in all of these false activities. That is regarding that. The final one that we'll mention is regarding eating and drinking accidentally. So an individual is fasting and he ends up eating or drinking something genuinely, sincerely, accidentally. He forgot. Then what's the ruling regarding that? The hadith of Abu Hurairah, muttafaqun alayh, من نسي وهو صائم فأكل أو شرب فليتم صومه فإنما أطعمه الله وسقاه. Whomsoever is fasting and he forgets and he eats and drinks, then he should complete his fast, because indeed that is Allah who has fed him and given him the drink. Hadith therefore indicates that somebody who genuinely accidentally forgets, they genuinely sincerely forget and they eat or drink something during the day of Ramadan, then they remember, then that day they carry on and they fast for the rest of the day, and it still counts. That accidental eating or drinking does not nullify the fasting of the day. But as soon as an individual remembers, then he must stop the eating and the drinking. As soon as an individual remembers, then he must stop the eating and the drinking. If he continues after he remembers, now he has eaten on purpose. That nullifies the fast. But that which he eats prior to remembering, then as soon as he stops now, that doesn't nullify his fast, he carries on for the day. Here there are some other rulings the scholars they mention. There is the issue regarding tasting food. It's mentioned, there are some narrations, perhaps if somebody is cooking, it's permissible for them to taste the food to see how it's cooking, as long as they don't swallow it and it's all taken out, nothing is swallowed. It's permissible to taste the food.